No one knew that Captain Sarah Mitchell was pregnant. She was 8 months pregnant and wore loose military uniforms to hide her growing belly until the enemy missile struck the command center. November 22, 2024, 3:47 a.m. Southeastern Military Base. Sarah sat in front of the dark monitors at the operations center during her night shift. 34 years old, black-haired, green-eyed, someone who never showed any emotion on her face. She had been in the military for 12 years. She was the best operator of missile defense systems. She had been stationed at this base for the last 3 years and had never made a single mistake. She hadn't told anyone about her pregnancy because she knew if she did, she would be immediately removed from duty. And this job was the only part of her identity. Her husband had died in a traffic accident 10 months ago. This baby was the only thing left from him. "Mitchell, there's something on the radar screen," said Lieutenant Davis, her young assistant, "but according to the system, it should be one of our own aircraft." Sarah looked at the screen. Her heart stopped. The IFF signal, friend or foe identification, showed a friendly F-16 in the system, but what the radar saw was much smaller, much faster. "This is a missile," Sarah said, her voice steady. "Someone has hacked our system. It will hit here in 2 minutes." "What?" Davis went into shock. "But the IFF faced us. Forget the system." Sarah jumped from her seat. Her pregnant belly caught on the chair, but she didn't care. "Emergency protocol. Now." But it was too late. Boom. The missile hit the logistics building 50 meters from the command center. The shock wave shook the entire base. Lights went out, generators kicked in, but the damage was severe. Sarah fell to the ground. She held her stomach. "No, no, no." "Captain, are you okay?" Davis ran over. "I'm fine," Sarah said, but she wasn't. Contractions had started. From stress, from the shock wave. She couldn't tell. But labor was beginning. She was 8 months pregnant. Still early. "Call for medical help," she whispered. "Captain, do you know what happened?" Sarah looked up. She saw the expression on Davis's face. "The logistics building wasn't just a supply depot, was it?" Sarah said. Davis swallowed. 15 of our soldiers are trapped under the rubble, injured. The infirmary is also burning. All the doctors and nurses were there. Night shift. They're all dead." Sarah's world spun. There were 300 soldiers on the base. And right now, there were no doctors, no nurses, no medical equipment. And there was one woman, 8 months pregnant, going into labor. Her. How much time do we have?" she asked. Another contraction came, stronger. "The second wave is coming in 20 minutes, Davis said with a trembling voice. "Intelligence just reported, but our defense system has crashed. Missile prevention systems are offline. They've been hacked." Sarah gritted her teeth. "Where's the commander?" "Colonel Harrison was injured in the building." "Unconscious. You're the highest-ranking officer right now, Captain. Number." No. This couldn't be. She couldn't be the commander who had to save 300 soldiers. She couldn't be a woman in labor. But there was no other choice. Sarah stood up. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was determined. "Listen to me very carefully, Davis. Now direct all able personnel to rescue those soldiers under the rubble. Ambulances, firefighters, everything. But what about missile defense?" "I'll handle it. But go," Sarah shouted, and another contraction came. She was almost falling to the ground. Davis ran out. Sarah turned to the monitors. Were the systems hacked or not? It didn't matter. There was manual control. The old system from the 1990s. The system nobody used anymore, that everyone had forgotten. But Sarah hadn't forgotten, because she had been trained exactly for this. She opened the emergency panel. Inside were old mechanical buttons, analog radars. "Okay, baby," she whispered to her belly. "Mommy is very busy right now. Please wait a little longer." But the baby didn't wait. Contractions were coming more frequently. 03:53 a.m. 17 minutes remaining. She started the manual radar system. The screen flickered on. The image was blurry, but it worked. She could see 3 dots, 3 missiles coming toward the base. Manual firing mode for defense missiles, she said to herself. Her hands were flying over the keyboard. She didn't know she could move this fast while pregnant. The system was broken. Automatic locking wasn't working. She had to manually target each missile. You had to be a math genius. Speed calculations, wind direction, gravity effect. She had to calculate everything in her head. She targeted the first missile. Fire button. Whoosh, her own missile launched. Hit, hit, hit! Sarah prayed. 10 seconds later, an explosion on the screen. First enemy missile destroyed. Yes! But a contraction came. It was so strong that Sarah fell from the chair. No, not yet. 3:56 a.m. 14 minutes remaining, 2 more missiles. Sarah climbed back into the chair. Her pants were wet. Her water had broken. Shit, she muttered. The birth was happening. Whether she wanted it or not, she targeted the second missile. Her hands were shaking. She couldn't breathe, but she fired. The missile launched. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. Missed. No. Sarah punched the screen. The second enemy missile was still coming. 8 minutes from the base. The third missile was approaching from a different angle. Sarah had only 1 defense missile left. 2 targets. An impossible choice. She could save one. The other would hit the base. Left missile would hit the infirmary building. 50 wounded soldiers there. Right missile would hit the fuel depots. The entire base would burn. Which one would she choose? Another contraction. Sarah screamed. Her baby was coming. She could feel it. Please, please wait a little longer. She cried, but the contractions didn't stop. Her body was pushing. The birth mechanism had started. Sarah took off her pants. There was no other option. She was going to give birth in the chair, with one hand giving birth, with the other hand using the missile defense system. 4:01 a.m., 9 minutes remaining. Ah! Sarah pushed. The baby was coming, but at the same time she was moving the mouse. She was tracking both missiles on the screen. An idea. A crazy idea. To hit both missiles at once. If she detonated the defense missile right between them, the shockwave might knock both off course. 3% chance of success. But there was no other chance. Sarah programmed the last remaining missile. Her hands were slipping with blood from childbirth. "Okay, baby," she whispered. "We're going to save everyone together with Mommy." She fired. The missile launched, and at the same time, Sarah pushed once more. The baby came out. The missile exploded. The shockwave knocked both enemy missiles off course. Both fell into empty terrain, far from the base. Alarm stopped. Danger passed. Sarah held her baby. She was crying. The baby was crying. Both were covered in blood. "We did it," she whispered. "We did it, sweetheart." The door opened. Davis ran in. He froze at the scene he witnessed. Sarah was sitting in the chair, a newborn baby in her arms. Blood everywhere, but the screen read, "Danger passed. All missiles destroyed." Captain, you need emergency delivery team," Sarah said, her voice still determined. "But first, give me a status report." "How many soldiers did we save?" Davis's eyes filled with tears. "All of them, Captain. We got all 15 wounded out. They're alive." Sarah smiled. Tears were flowing. "Good," she said. "Very good." And she fainted. 3 days later, Sarah woke up in a hospital bed. Her baby was in her arms. A little girl, healthy. The door opened. The chief of general staff entered. Sarah immediately tried to sit up, but the general raised his hand. "At ease, Captain Mitchell. I didn't come to give you a medal today." Sarah's heart sank. "Commander, I came to promote you," the general said. "Major Mitchell." And the new commander of the base. Sarah was shocked. But I hid my pregnancy. I gave birth on duty. This proves you risked your body and your baby to save 300 soldiers' lives, the general said. You proved you're a hero. And I got special permission for you to serve with your baby. A child care unit will be established at your base. Sarah's tears flowed. Thank you, Commander. The general saluted. No, Major. Thank you. 2 years later, Major Sarah Mitchell was walking toward the base command center, holding her little daughter Emma's hand. Emma was now 2 years old, running along, following her mother. Mommy, are we going to fire missiles today? Emma asked innocently. Sarah smiled. No, sweetheart. Today there is peace. What's peace? Peace is when Mommy can play with you, Sarah said, picking up her daughter. When she entered the command center, all the soldiers stood at attention. Good morning, Commander, they all said together. Sarah returned the salute. The old manual control panel she had used that night still hung on the wall. As a memento, written on it, 20 minutes, a mother's choice. And every passing day, Sarah remembered that night, giving birth in a room that wasn't a delivery room, taking the risk of hitting 2 missiles with 1 shot, endangering her baby to save 300 soldiers, and every time she told herself the same thing. A commander never chooses. Either save everyone or no one. Emma grew up. When she turned 18, she joined the military. Mom, she said, what did you feel that night? Sarah smiled. Fear, pain, hopelessness, but also power. Power? Yes, because at that moment I understood. I'm not just a commander, I'm also a mother, and a mother's power makes even the impossible possible. Emma hugged her mother. I want to be like you. Sarah couldn't hold back her tears. No, sweetheart, be better, because you deserve to live in a world without war. But what if war breaks out? Emma became serious. Then you'll be ready. Because you're the daughter of a woman who could save the world even in a birthing chair. And Emma smiled because she knew. Blood isn't just shed in war. Sometimes it's also shed to give life. And sometimes the greatest heroes aren't just those who carry weapons. They are mothers.